Okay, we have a green box, we have a live counter ticking up, which means we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network. It's been longer than usual thanks to the holiday season, and of course, today is a special Tuesday edition of the Paradox Hour because we are finally doing media of 2022. We are talking TVs, shows, we are talking movies, and we are talking a few books.
Speaking of editing, by the way, the thing says that we're playing Dragon Age 2.
Oh, right, I forgot about that one. I'm going to be honest, I'm not at the races today. Oh, for fuck's sake, Twitch, why must you do that? It's gotten into the habit of when I try and update the stream info, it'll say that there's something wrong when there's nothing wrong. And I have to actually go into each of the boxes and just put a space and delete it again before it actually does anything.
Jesus Christ.
But yes, I am not at the races because, well, I mean, I've been getting up earlier than usual the last 3 days. Sunday because it was Christmas, Monday because I had work at 11, and then today, it's probably might be a good thing, but I was gonna try and get up a bit earlier just to have something to do before I went into work, and then work called me and needed me in an hour earlier than usual, or an hour earlier than I was scheduled. So that was fun. And then I worked for another
Serendipity?
hour after my shift was supposed to end. Yay.
That's
Wonderful.
So yeah,
welcome to the working class, Mill.
I know. At least I'm getting money for this. That's all I'm gonna. That's my solace from this.
Silver lining?
I'm getting, relatively well paid. I say relatively well paid. I'm getting paid like £9.50 an hour, which is not that good. But I'm getting paid. I'm getting money. I'm just gonna take that as the win.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that money to consume media.
Segue! Back into the topic.
Luckily, today I don't have much to talk about, so Jack and Lord here are going to be doing most of the heavy lifting, which I am grateful for. So, without further ado,
You're welcome.
Fellas, take it away with Andor.
This show is so damn good.
Andor is very, very good.
Like,
it's
I-
almost hard to talk about why it's good because there's very little it does not well.
yeah, I mean, part of the reason it's so good is because it's just so strongly, it does its theme so well.
Yeah,
Very,
it's also not afraid to say something.
yeah. It's a very thematically strong story and has a very political message, I'll say, behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is like very thoroughly anti-fascist.
Yeah. I will say, before we get into gushing, I will say my one gripe with Andor, and that is really, it's a very specific thing. I wish they had made the show about the guy we already know who's named Cassian Andor from Rogue One, but they made it about this other guy who looks the same and has the same name. But like he's essentially a different character than in Rogue One.
To be fair, there are like a few years between this show and Rogue One, so there's
Yeah, but
entirely
in Rogue
time
One,
for him to grow from one into the other.
yeah, no, that's not my issue. Like that's also something one can question, though I don't think that's a fair question. But no, my issue is in Rogue One he has a line when he fights with Jyn Erso, where he says something to the effect of "I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old."
Right, I remember
And
that.
that is absolutely certainly not true. It's just
Maybe
they
he's
paid
thinking of
some
that
lip
time.
service to it with the flashback in the first few episodes, but like that's a false statement with this show in the universe. And like it's fine. I don't really care. Like the guy from Rogue One is dead, and the movie was made before the show, and that's gonna happen. It's just it's a different guy. And that is my one gripe.
changes need to be made, basically.
No, absolutely. It's a
My
fair
one
change.
gripe is there's not enough of this show. I need more of this show ASAP.
Oh, there will be more,
I know, but it's not here yet.
but it's not here now.
I am very impatient for more of this. This is good. This is very good. Like, the acting in this show is also just phenomenal across the board. You have a lot of subtlety and nuance in the acting throughout the show. Like, the actors do a really good job with nonverbal stuff in the show, which I always love to see.
Yeah, that's.
Like,
I mean, and again, basically everything is done well. Like the direction is so good to allow the actors these moments where they can actually do that. It's not just like a cut fest when you just get cut through scenes just to get through them. No, you have these very uncomfortable scenes, like of the what's his name, the low level police guy and his mother.
Oh yeah, what's his face?
Yeah,
I don't even bother with his. I'm not bothering with his name because he's a bootlegger. He's a bootlegger. Cyril. Cyril, that's it. Cyril.
Yes. And like the scenes with him and his mom are so
They're very deliberately uncomfortable because she's very clearly like a very not necessarily she is emotionally abusive to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's very clear like this guy is a fucked up guy, but
he is in general very much nowhere. Yeah, no, he's very much obviously a product of abuse. Like by his mother, probably by the working conditions in his old job, which gave him this tiny bit of power. I mean, and that's how the cycle perpetuates, right? Someone gets a little bit of power and
they immediately use it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, this show is very good on basically all fronts. Like
this show is probably the most in-depth examination of fascism and its mechanisms that I have seen in anything on television.
And the only show the best Star Wars has been in, I want to say, years.
It's the first season of The Mandalorian, honestly.
I think it's better. Like
that's probably true, but like, I don't think we've gotten a Star Wars show as good as this since the first season of Mandalorian.
No, that's definitely true. Like, we will get to the other one, but
yes, the other one we have stuff to say about, but this one extremely good.
Just to interrupt about the fascism thing, how does it rank up to 86, Jack? In terms of tackling fascism,
it attacks fascism from a different perspective. It doesn't delve as much into like the more racism angle that 86 does.
Yeah,
this is more about the structural and perpetuational lenses of fascism.
Okay.
Like how fascism basically keeps itself going and how it builds itself up and breaks and grinds everyone else down beneath it.
The fascism in Andor is almost a force of nature. Like it's just there, and no matter what you do, you cannot escape it.
It's this huge, brutal, big, uncaring thing that just grinds everyone into a pulp in its gears. And it's like, there's no one person who can end it on their own. That's why there is an organized rebellion being formed. But yeah, also does a great job highlighting the grayer morality of the rebels. That was like not really present in the original trilogy.
Yeah, definitely.
You have what's his name? Stellan Skarsgård's character, who is just absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing, yeah.
As a representation of like the one who fights monsters and becomes corrupted by their fight with the monster.
Yeah. Yeah, you have Mon Mothma who doesn't want that. Like her thing is, no, we can probably somehow politic our way out of this.
She doesn't want to get her hands dirty, and she doesn't want to stoop to the Empire's level, so to speak. Yeah. But like,
And you have Stellan
pretty clear
Skarsgård
that
who
they-
says, "No, we can't politic our way out of this." And in the end, you get Saw Gerrera too, like you.
But I think they each represent different aspects of rebellion. Like Saw Gerrera
Yes,
is the very
absolutely.
militaristic kind.
Yeah,
Luthen is like the more espionage, manipulative, hands dirty kind, but
yeah. But
isn't like
also they
outward violence.
but also they represent a spectrum. Like Saw Gerrera is the military extremist. Mon Mothma is the I don't
Political
want to say
idealist.
pacifist, but she's a political idealist. She actually she doesn't really want to do anything. She just wants things to change for the better somehow.
And she
And you have Stellan Skarsgård in the middle, who is more of like who's something in between. He's not as extreme as Saw Gerrera because like he
a
doesn't.
cynical realist, I'd say.
Yeah,
Particularly cynical realist.
like he understands that you need to balance these two positions. You need to get shit done, but you do actually need ideals because if you don't have them, then you're just blowing
What's the
shit up
point?
for no
Yeah.
reason. Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, you have this fascinating political interplay going on throughout the show, and then you have Cassian, who spends a good chunk of the show, kind of not really anchored into any faction. He's just trying to survive, and he's just put in the Empire's crosshairs by just a relatively minor incident that was really no fault of his own directly. He
Well,
defends himself from a couple corrupt corporate cops and accidentally kills them, and now he's on the
wasn't
fucking
really
land.
accidental.
Well,
Wasn't
one
that
of them was
accidental.
accidental. One of them was
One of
definitely.
them, the other one definitely wasn't. But no, of course, he has a like on the grand scale of imperial politics, a relatively minor thing that just kind of gets him embroiled in this whole situation.
And his whole arc is just becoming radicalized into not radicalized, but
Yeah,
developed.
no,
Well, yeah, he kind of is radicalized
absolutely.
to the point of like he understands why a rebellion is necessary, and he understands the point of rebellion.
And he tries to get away from it, but he can't because, as I said, the fascism is essentially a force of nature. He cannot get away.
It's just so deeply entrenched into everything.
I mean, that's the other that's the other piece of irony. Like when he gets arrested and gets a draconian punishment, he gets it for nothing.
Because of a
he doesn't even get arrested for the thing he did. He gets arrested because someone wanted to.
Yeah, because a stormtrooper was on fucking power trip and arrested him
Yeah.
for no good reason, basically.
Exactly. And that's the ultimate irony. He's never punished for the thing he did.
He's punished so much worse for something he didn't do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just...
It's honestly really horrifying when you think about it.
Yeah. Almost like fascism sucks.
Yeah, I know, right? No, the whole prison arc is probably the strongest stuff in the show, and this show is really fucking good across the board anyways.
Also, people need to shut up. Andy Serkis of this show is not Snow. Like, that's just Andy Serkis playing a different character.
No, Andy Serkis
I can't rule anything out.
absolutely
If that turns
iconic.
out to be Snow, then I'm gonna eat, I don't know, a broom or something. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it don't make no sense. I don't know. Andy Serkis, absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Does a phenomenal job of the show. But he's always been a great actor.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is just usually good and thinks he's in.
Yeah. It's almost as if he's a professional actor who's good at stuff.
It's weird. I don't know. I don't trust people who are good at things.
Yeah, no, like, we could go on for like an hour or so just talking about thing that's good in Andor.
Yeah, no, as I said, basically everything is good in Andor, and if someone hasn't seen it, even if someone didn't necessarily like Star Wars and hasn't seen it, I would still say give it a shot.
It is honestly like one of the few Star Wars series I would recommend for non-Star Wars fans.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's wrong to say it doesn't feel like Star Wars because it very much does feel like Star Wars. Like they write the line very well, but it doesn't do that like like episode 7 or Book of Boba Fett thing where it's like a warm blanket. It's like, yeah, those are things you know. Just come here and be comfortable. No, it's more like it's what they originally said the Star Wars stories movies would be.
Yeah.
Which never really happened because they did Han Solo, and the less said about that, the better. Not a terrible movie.
Han Solo wasn't that bad of a movie.
No, but it fucked up what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that is true.
And no, this is definitely like just what they originally promised to do, which is just a story in this universe that doesn't really.
It's not super big on continuity nods or mythology stuff or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's very grounded and very self-contained, aside from like a few minor nods to continuity here and there, without like a shit ton of cameos.
I mean, it has some,
really,
but most of them aren't really like showstoppers. Like, look at this thing you already know. No, they're literally like.
There are literally only 2 characters from like previous media. 3 characters from previous media. There's Cassian, there's Mon Mothma, and then there's a cameo character in like episode 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everything else is really self-contained.
Does the It's a Trap guy appear?
No, unfortunately.
No.
Oh, but one of the Cassian's friends from Rogue One also shows up during the prison arc. That was neat.
Yeah. I mean, I assume there's a good chance Akbar might appear in the later seasons because, like, that's when they
Big
start
rebellion
building his
guy.
lead.
Yeah.
But no, for now it is very, very much its own thing, and of course it does relate to Star Wars in the grand scheme because it relates to Rogue One, and that is basically the opening crawl of the first movie. But yeah, it's very, very subdued in its continuity, in a good way.
I imagine that will eventually change in future seasons, but I hope it doesn't change too much.
I assume they will not be able to keep it in their pants. Especially now that it's like it was the same thing with Mandalorian season 1. Season 1 was popular, and then in season 2 they couldn't keep it in their pants. I would not be surprised if we saw, like, I don't know, more people from Rogue One in the next season or something.
Which, to be fair, not a bad approach to introduce other Rogue One characters and develop
Yeah, I
them more.
guess.
Because a lot of them were not really super developed in the movie itself.
Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, I guess, yeah, this would be the place to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we?
But as I said, it's not really Andor, so, well, whatever. But yeah, let's move on. We could talk about Andor for hours.
We're not going to talk about everything for this long, I promise.
Yeah,
I really hope not. Otherwise, I'm going to end up napping throughout this thing, and you're going to have to yell. Yell at me.
It's late for me too. Don't worry.
Screen. So moving on to, it's the Batman.
So the Batman is really good.
It's
also
the
really
Sandman.
good.
Probably talk for hours about.
It's not our fault we have 2 really good projects in a row to talk about.
You do you. I'm just going to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel when it loads, so...
Yeah, exactly. No, I think the thing to say about everyone knows Batman, everyone knows what to expect of a Batman movie. I think the thing to say about this one is that it very successfully rides the line between not being a Batman movie we've seen before, but not being so unfamiliar that you can't really put it in the greater context of Batman. Yes, it is dark and brooding, but it's not a Christopher Nolan Batman movie by any stretch. Like, it's very different in its approach just to the character.
This one is a lot more class conscious than the Nolan movie.
That definitely, of course, it's from a politically different time. But it's also not like it's not this. It doesn't fit the Zack Snyder Batman. It doesn't fit Nolan Batman. It isn't. By God, it's not the Tim Burton or even worse Joel Schumacher Batman. It's very much its own take on Batman, which probably closest to the animated series from the 90s. But even that, it's not that. It's still a different Batman. Like it's a very, very not even unique. It's just it has its own take on the character, and that helps it a lot. Because you're not just sitting there and being like, well, here's the scene where Bruce Wayne's parents get shot. Here's the scene where he falls into a bat cave. Here's the scene where he gets his train. It's not that. It's very much you know who Batman is. Here's a story about Batman movie.
Yeah, this is what I do appreciate, that Batman is already active in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's been around for about a year or so now.
Yeah.
And so he's already done the Batman Year One type stuff. He's already done some Batman stuff here and there.
The stuff you already know about Batman, if you haven't lived under a rock, you already know and is already in place. Like, he has a relationship with Gordon, there's a bat signal, everyone essentially knows he exists, he's fighting crime.
Yes.
Great. And that's honestly that's how it should be.
Crazy. Yes.
Yeah. That really is how it should be. Like, the people know who Batman is. It's the same with
everyone knows his origin by this point.
Yeah, there's just characters you don't really need to introduce anymore.
I think Bruce Wayne's parents are the only characters we've seen shot more than Uncle Ben.
Yeah, no shit. No, and I think this Batman movie, like, especially the first scene where they introduce you to their version of Batman by essentially not showing him and showing very little of him, is very effective. It's a very good take on basically the same thing Tim Burton did in 1989, but better.
Mm-hmm.
A
lot less murdery.
Well, that was 1992. In 1990, he didn't murder anyone. That's all Batman.
Burton Batman.
But no, Burton Batman is a thing.
Very murder happy by Batman standards.
Yeah, but no, this movie has a very good take on how to present Batman, because it doesn't really do the Christopher Nolan thing where you see all of the gadgets and basically the progress movie about how to turn this thing into this other thing a ninja might use. But it also doesn't go like full, I don't know, Jaws, where you never see Batman. Like, it again strikes a pretty good balance.
There's also just a lot. I do want to take a moment to highlight the amazing score for this movie.
The score's wonderful.
Absolutely fantastic score. Works really great in the opening sequence with Batman. Oh, actually, I don't think that's the opening sequence. I believe the opening sequence is the Riddler.
It's the murder of the senator. Candidate for mayor dude.
Oh, it's the actual mayor. Like, he's running for re-election.
Oh yeah, he is the mayor running for re-election. Exactly. Yeah, the score is definitely a standout. Also, it's not like, obviously it's a Batman movie. It's obviously an action movie, but it really only has two big action set pieces. The one at the end, of course, the flooding, and the car chase. And the car chase is amazing.
Car chase is great.
It's probably one of the best car chases I've seen since Mad Max. I think like Colin Farrell as the Penguin is completely amazing. If I hadn't known that was Colin Farrell, I literally wouldn't have known it. Yeah, and he's getting a TV show soon, and I'm pretty excited for that. Like, I'm sure that's going to be fun.
Has a lot of potential.
Yeah. The one thing this Batman movie really didn't touch on yet, to its advantage, I want to say, is Bruce Wayne. Like, Bruce Wayne is basically not really a character yet. I assume that will come in the sequel. Like, this movie is set up for Bruce Wayne to turn into a character again.
Yeah, it's very much like a sense of Batman has kind of just not really he's gone full Batman and not really bothered with being Bruce Wayne.
Exactly. Like, it is, I'm gonna say, essential to the character that he has an unhealthy relationship to Batman. But yeah, he hasn't. Basically, in this movie, he hasn't been Bruce Wayne at all for most of this year that he has been active as Batman, if not longer. But the movie very clearly sets up, no, you need Bruce Wayne in your life, and I assume that will happen in the next movie.
Yeah. Most likely what's going to happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, Batman. Very good.
Very good movie. We'll say all the cast, great jobs.
Yes. And Serkis again, as well, Alfred.
Andy Serkis is just a great friggin' actor.
Yeah.
I'm appreciating his continued getting of good roles for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of amazing. He used to be like a funny suit guy for Lord of the Rings, and he has really come into his own as an on-screen actor.
Oh. What's really good is all the actors are just really good at bouncing off of each other too. Like,
yeah, it feels very character-driven, even if most of them aren't that characterized, but it feels like they are.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't really have the time of a television series to
Yeah, of course.
But still.
Yeah. Special shout out, while we're talking characters, special shout out to John Turturro as Falcone. Like, amazing.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal.
Like, he's gross and it's wonderful. But no, in the spirit of not talking about everything for as long as we can, I'm gonna say Batman really, really good. Probably the best portrayal of Batman we've gotten in quite a few years.
Yeah, I'd say probably the best best screen version of Batman, besides maybe maybe the Nolan movies, and even then that's debatable.
Yeah, Nolan has a thing about how he approaches character writing that kind of works for Batman, but still has its weaknesses.
Yeah. No, but yeah, no, extremely good movie. I only have one minor gripe with it, and it's kind of a spoiler. That one scene near the end with the surprise character.
I mean, spoiler tag is in effect, so.
Yeah, the Joker cameo I was kind of cool on.
Yeah, that's kind of at this point. I'm gonna say at this point in where this world of Batman stands, it's kind of pointless because, like, the Joker and Batman don't have a relationship yet.
I believe he's there just to show that Batman's been active for a little bit.
Yeah, I read an interview with I don't know if it's the writer or director, but someone said that's essentially why they put them there. That was not meant to be a setup for a later movie or anything. Like, that's why it was essentially played by some guy. They didn't really cast him. They just put a guy in there and said, "This is the lines. Do the Joker." Yeah, they said this is just to make the world feel like Batman has been active for a bit. And I think if you want to do that, the Joker is the one to do it with, but because much like people know Batman, people know the Joker, and it just kind of functions as.
Yep. But anyways, we should probably move on to the first movie that I'm the only person who will be talking about it.
Yep.
We move on to Belle, which is an anime movie by the looks of things.
It is an anime movie. It is a loose sort of adaptation of the Beauty and the Beast story, but it's got a lot of twists to it that make for a really engaging story. For one, a lot of the film takes place in a digital world that's accessed via VR technology. So a lot of people have digital avatars, and they tap into the digital world called the U, just capital U letter, and dive into it and have their own avatars that are sometimes exaggerated versions of them, and sometimes just completely different from human. But this is Mamoru Hosoda's latest movie. It's extremely good. The biggest points in its favor, it looks gorgeous. The story is pretty interesting, and the music is absolutely fucking phenomenal. If nothing else, I would recommend just looking up the soundtrack on Spotify or SoundCloud or whatever, and just giving it a listen. Both the English and the Japanese tracks are extremely good. But this is a really good movie, and it had several twists and turns I was not expecting. It's overall quite good. Some elements are a little bit more mileage may vary than others, but overall a very strong movie, I think, with really good production and good story and great acting and singing going into it. It is basically a musical, but there's only one real singer in the movie, and she just absolutely nails it. I don't remember who voices her in Japanese. Let me look that up real quick, like, because I do not remember off the top of my head. But if I recall correctly, it is Kaho Nakamura.
Doesn't ring a bell.
And she's voiced by Kylie McNeil in English. Yeah, Kaho Nakamura is also. Holy shit! This is her debut role. God damn.
Would explain why it doesn't ring a bell.
Anyways, look up the soundtrack if you don't if you're unsure of the movie, because the soundtrack kicks ass, if nothing else. But the movie's good and it's definitely worth a watch, in my opinion. Yeah, with that, I feel comfortable with moving on to the next film.
Okay, moving on. It's the first Marvel offering of the stream.
Will not be the last.
It's not. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
This movie was so good. Like, if you were to tell me that there would be a well-produced Marvel movie that was actually legitimately quite good to pick thematic rendering of grief and the importance of cooperation and harmony between peoples, I would not have believed you, because this movie just absolutely slaps and is probably the thematically strongest Marvel movie we've had in a while. The acting is also extremely good across the board. Kind of to be expected, but sometimes actors funded in Marvel movies. You know how they are sometimes. But no, this movie has really good effects, really incredible acting, really good story, and it is just really thematically strong. It feels like both an extended tribute to Chadwick Boseman and a wonderful, illustration of his legacy and just the effect that the first Black Panther movie and the character of Black Panther have in the public consciousness. Yeah. Also, Hannah Huerta, who plays Namor, absolutely great actor. I believe this is actually his first the first international production he's been a part of. I believe he's either only done Mexican television or stage acting before this, if he's really gotten any notable roles before this. But goddamn, he's knocked it out of the park with this one. He is really good at being both charismatic and incredibly intimidating as Namor. Yeah, overall, across the board, great acting, great action sequences, too. Very inventive with the action sequences. My one gripe is that there are a couple of plot lines in the middle of the movie that feel like they are there to fill time, and or just to be wider MCU stuff. Namely, the stuff with Martin Freeman's character and Ironheart. But beyond that, it's just a really strong movie.
The token white guy.
Yeah, Martin Freeman, the token white guy. I do love that we have that in the movie now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice thing to be able to say.
Yes, exactly.
In a big movie.
Also, this movie is primarily led and driven by black women, and it feels completely organic, not like remotely a case of like the girl power moments in Avengers Endgame where it feels incredibly cheesy or forced.
Yeah.
No, it's like an incredibly organic move to have this be centered around black women and the theme of grief.
Mm-hmm.
It just works really well. I say this as a white man. But still, it holds true. It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it,
If
honestly,
that's
probably the best Marvel movie of Phase 4, besides maybe Spider-Man No Way Home.
yeah.
Depends on if you're more into popcorn movies or thematic movies. But yeah, great movie. Probably the best Marvel movie of the year by
Cool.
quite a wide margin.
I
So,
look I look forward to it hitting Disney Plus because I can't be bothered going to movie theaters. I'm also now
understandable.
far enough away from any movie theaters that it really just isn't worth it. Oh hey, my opponent surrendered. I said I
Yeah,
was playing Master Duel, but yeah, I'm far enough away from any theaters that yeah, I really, unless it's something that really appeals to me, like if there's a theater that's like showing the Slime movie anywhere nearby, I might make the trek out. Especially if I can maybe sync it up with work, but we'll see. Um, but
voice.
if that's everything for Black Panther,
Yep. I'm comfortable with moving on now.
we move on then to The Boys Season 3. Wasn't there an orgy?
Yes, a superhero
Among other
orgy.
things, yes.
It was honestly tamer than I expected, but also was still
Yeah.
incredibly fucked up. I was expecting something much more fucked up than we got. We got other fucked up stuff in the season, though.
We definitely did. I think the boys is getting better and better at just being what it is. Like,
Yeah. It's just very, very unapologetic in what it is, while at the same time being very, very thematically insane in a
yeah,
good way. Like, there are some things this season I didn't like, but I overall very much enjoy the season.
yeah, no, absolutely. It always feels like I'm sorry. Excuse me, coughing.
Don't worry about it.
It always feels like it's about to tip over and not be good anymore,
And then
but
it
it
pulls
hasn't
itself
happened
back.
yet. Yeah,
Yeah. I really, really enjoyed this one. Jensen Ackles was fucking phenomenal here.
it was great. Yes.
You would not have imagined that Jensen Ackles would go from playing Dean fucking Winchester to Soldier Boy.
Yeah,
Who
like
is
that was he was phenomenal. Yeah, that's really the only word for it.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible acting from him. The whole cast did a really good job, honestly. I feel like we keep saying that, but it's just true so far. Like I can't say any of the shows or movies we discussed so far. I cannot say that anyone has phoned it in. Not yet. We'll get there.
Yeah, we will definitely get there.
But yeah, no, everyone is bringing their A game. Like, Aaron Fukuhara, great job as Kimiko. Absolutely love the musical sequence. Absolutely fucking
Yeah,
great.
that was like that was the best musical sequence I've seen in a while.
Yeah, no, absolutely great. Honestly, like every character undergoes a very interesting character arc in this season. It is absolutely fucking great to see like all the crazy shit go down in the season as a result of all the shenanigans going on with like the special temporary superpower bullshits and all that. I do
Yeah,
also
definitely.
Kimiko coming to understand and reconcile with her powers and resolve to use them, constructively.
Yeah, her arc felt very cathartic.
Yeah. Also, she killed a bunch of dudes with a dildo, which was funny.
Of course.
Yeah. Also, just Anthony Starr as Homelander, fucking great.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's just
Honestly, Anthony Starr is probably like the breakout actor of the show. He just
most
does
likely he will be.
yeah. He's just such a great performer in this role. I'm surprised he hasn't had any big roles before this. He's just so good. Yeah. The only characters who really felt wasted this season were the Deep, who, fuck him, I don't really care about him anyway.
Yeah, he honestly they never really
Off.
got him to be interesting.
I don't think they ever will at this point.
No, they did their thing with him in season 1, and ideally they should have just shelved him after that. Probably it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just there to be a butt monkey at this point.
Kind of. Yeah.
He's the only one I feel like it wasn't really done much with this season. To a lesser extent, Black Noir and A-Train have less than I'd have liked, but they still have interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, Black
just,
Noir
I wish
has
there was
quite
more.
a bit that's just not. It just happens quite fast. I don't even want to say the pacing is off.
It's just very sudden.
It's kind of
yes.
an info dump. Yeah.
I do appreciate
Yeah.
what we did, but it's like I wish it was like more drip fed, and also like we got more stuff.
Yeah, that's always difficult. Like, I mean, yeah, we'll have to see where that goes. Again, The Boys always feels like, oh, maybe next season it's gonna be bad, but so far it hasn't happened.
Yeah, they're apparently getting Jeffrey Dean Morgan to come in next season.
Yeah, I saw that.
That'll be interesting. Kind of hilarious that he's coming this season after Jensen Ackles.
Yeah.
That's a really funny casting thing. But yeah, we should probably move on before we talk more about how excellent the show is.
Yeah.
I'd just like to point out that I do quite like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so glad he's getting.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Getting more stuff.
Nothing against him. I just find it funny that he's coming in right after the guy who played his son was done with his role in the show for now.
But we move on to Critical Role: The Legend of Vox Machina.
Fucking doors!
Yeah, I mean, that's a show you probably already know if you like, or if you will like or won't like.
Yeah, no, this show is it's in the vein of the crude violent fantasy series that's been all the rage lately, but still fun as hell, and it's in the spirit of the original podcast anyway.
That's the thing. Like, it's adapted from a D&D campaign, and you feel that.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. Like, you don't have like weird tangents that go nowhere, like every D&D campaign has or something. But like, if you know, you see it.
Yeah, they've definitely streamlined the campaign itself into something more digestible in a series. Like if they included all the tangents on the original podcast, holy shit.
Yeah, no, this was obviously written by a team of actual writers from the basis of the D&D campaign. Like, they didn't just make a show about the D&D. Like, that's not what they did. This was written. It's well written. It's obviously well acted.
Yeah, I do love that all the original voice actors returned for their roles.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely great.
It's always going to be the case. No, it's very well made. It's probably not as good as the things we talked about so far, but it is fun. Again, you people will probably know if they like it or not very early in. It is very violent. Like, it's even for a show that you expect to be violent, it is very violent.
Yeah, no, it's extremely, extremely violent.
Like
But
I wasn't put
it's a
off
good
by
ass
it, but
show.
I was definitely surprised by it.
Yeah. But hey, it's still really, really good.
It is definitely good, yes.
Aren't like most certainly D&D campaigns pretty violent?
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of the beast there.
Yeah, no, definitely, but they again, this was in the hands of writers. They could have toned that down if they wanted to, but they clearly went fully into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if that's everything, we move on to one that I can finally talk about. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
And here's where we start getting into stuff that we might actually be pretty critical of.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Look, it's just that
I mean, it's not terrible.
Wanda
It's
being...
not a terrible movie by any stretch.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi is a fucking excellent horror director, and it shows in this.
Look,
Frankly,
God
there was more Sam Raimi in this movie than I expected.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I expected this to be way more sanitized than it ended up being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
the thing that's fucked up on this is the plot.
Look, yeah. Wanda being the villain makes sense pre-WandaVision. Post-WandaVision, not so much.
Yeah, no, they utterly bastardized her character to make her the villain. If they put this
Wasn't
before
it because...
WandaVision, that would have made sense. But no, they put it after.
Wasn't it because Raimi said that he didn't watch WandaVision?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were working on this as WandaVision was being released or something. Something along those lines.
Way to work together, guys.
Absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. No, like as a Sam Raimi movie, it's pretty good. As a story in the greater Marvel universe, it's kind of hokey.
Yeah.
It's kind of garbage, yeah.
And not only because the villain doesn't really work, like a lot of it doesn't really work.
Yeah. No, the plot's kind of nonsensical, and that's not even getting into all the other... all the plot's the biggest issue, honestly.
Yes.
Like, the plot is very much an excuse plot.
Yeah, they just kind of thought, well, we want to fight Doctor Strange. We want Wanda and Doctor Strange to fight. We want to introduce America Chavez into our universe. I guess this is it.
I'm just happy Wong survived.
Yeah.
That is a plus. That is definitely a plus.
Wong continues to be one of my favorite parts of the MCU.
Yeah, though to be fair, it is starting to get into overexposure territory. Like,
yeah,
Wong isn't funny because he's always there. Wong is funny because he's not always there, and he's getting quite a lot.
Yeah, I do appreciate Wong though. Wong is fun.
No, absolutely. It's for now. I'm fine with it. It's just it's getting there.
Oh, understandable. Yeah. I will say effects are great. I just really wish that they, worked the multiverse stuff in better, and didn't, just have like them go to two alternate universes, and only one of them is like super strongly plot relevant.
Yeah, and both
all
of them
the
are
Illuminati
particularly
got
interesting
jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate getting Patrick Stewart back.
I do. I appreciate that.
With
but like
the X-Men theme from the fucking animated series.
That was also pretty great.
Yeah.
I just wish it wasn't like, oh, all these cool characters. Oh, they're dead now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was the Raimi bit, but I think they kind of either they wanted to do too much or they didn't give enough of a shit. One of the two.
I'm pretty sure it was a lot of studio mandate bullshit that was like that went a bit too far.
But even the studio mandate doesn't really seem to pan out because apparently they don't actually want John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and
yeah, it was just a fan-pleasing cameo thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of weird. Like, do it or don't do it. It's not.
To be fair, if they're doing like an older alternate Reed Richards, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but it's just
if
kind
they're
of
going
weird.
for a younger Reed Richards in the mainline MCU, then yeah, John Krasinski is not it.
No, it's just kind of weird that they would put him in here and then basically instantly start to pull back and be like, well, no, this was just a one-time thing.
Yeah, no, that does seem
maybe they
cowardly.
will end up casting him. It's just from what I heard through the grapevine is that they don't really expect to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do feel like this is a much more flawed movie than
Yeah.
Black.
I mean, what I will say is, Strange fighting Evil Strange was
that was fun.
That
was an inventive fight.
Yeah, like using the sheet music. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
Also,
But
again,
I feel like this movie can be described as neat concepts, largely executed poorly.
Yeah.
The movie has moments, but the connecting tissue doesn't really hold up.
Again, Zombie Strange, cool concept.
Yeah.
Mediocre execution.
Also, a concept that, I mean, they didn't necessarily do it better, but they already did it in What If.
Yeah, no.
And that's the thing, like, you would think if they do What If with the marketing push it got, and then want to do Evil Strange in the movie, that those two things would be related. But the Evil Strange from What If is apparently not the Evil Strange from the movie.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
Yeah, and that's just weird. Like, non-comics people who aren't used to this shit are gonna be weirded out by that if they watch both.
I mean, there were 4 Strangers in this movie. One was definitely evil. One was, I would say, evil, considering he had to be,
put down like Old Yeller.
Yeah. One was.
And one was a Knight Templar bastard.
Yeah, one was morally grey at best. And then obviously we've got, regular Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like in the first movie, Rachel McAdams was completely
extraneous,
pointless. Yeah. Like, she does nothing.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because that's a waste of such a good Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, like, she's a fine actress. Like, why not actually let her do stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Waste of a perfect good Rachel McAdams.
Yeah. It kind of feels like Doctor Strange is becoming what Ant-Man was in Phase 2, where it's just kind of, we have this character and we need to do something with him, but we don't really know what, so we're just kind of making blah movies.
Yeah. More or less, yeah. Which is unfortunate, again.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I feel like this is a very mixed bag of a movie. I don't think it executes on the multiverse concept well, and a huge portion of the plot hinges on character assassinating Wanda.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I liked America, though.
To be fair, Elizabeth Olsen does act her ass off to play evil Wanda, but still,
yeah, I mean,
that's not enough to save it.
Yeah. But yeah, I like America, which is not a sentence I thought I'd ever say.
Yeah, she's fine. She's nothing like her comics.
No. But,
Also, what was up with that bull-headed dude? We never got any explanation about him, and I want one.
I could not tell you, my dude.
I mean, it's not like, it doesn't need to be like anything special. I just want to know where he came from. Also, they did real bad in defending themselves.
Yeah, real bad. Like, one break in their line and they immediately get fucked up.
Less archers, more shield guys. Come on. Pretty simple.
Yep. Nope. Too bad. They gotta have more archers. You need all those archers. I get them archers.
Well, it was dumb though. Those archers did nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, if you gotta have more attackers, then put them on more of those fucking cannons. Those cannons seem to do something.
Yes. But regardless, we're nitpicking at this point.
I just wanted to get that out there. That was one of my first reactions to the movie is, geez, that strategy was bad.
It's a legitimate strategy. Sorry, had to do it.
But we should move on to the next movie on our list: Glass Onion, A Knives Out Story.
Fun thing. It's actually just Glass Onion in the actual movie itself. It's just called Glass Onion.
Hmm.
The Knives Out thing is a marketing thing.
Right.
Yeah, sequel to Knives Out, extremely good movie. Both the first movie and this movie. You do not need to watch one to watch the other. Fortunately, both are excellent. All-star cast in this one as well, and they all knock it out of the park to the shock of no one. I'm not going to go too deep into the spoilers on this one because this one just came out. Like, so there was a limited theatrical release window, but like in terms of like the Netflix release, that it literally just came out less than a week ago. I'm not going to go into spoilers on this one.
I'm honestly
I will say
kind of tempted to watch this.
you should watch it. I would highly recommend it. Like if you watch no other movie this year, watch this one.
All right. Probably will watch more movies, but you know, we'll see.
I think part of the reason this one's so good is that it's just so well plotted out, and all the characters are really interact with each other really well. And also, Daniel Craig is fucking great. And all the actors are great, but Daniel Craig especially.
Daniel Craig, to be fair, is a significant part of why I'm interested in this movie because I do like him.
Yeah. So, fun fact: this isn't really a spoiler. This is just trivia. The character he plays, Detective Benoit Blanc, is canonically gay. It's only like in a blink and you miss it scene in the movie, since none of these are like directly his story. He's just a participant in someone else's story, solving mysteries. But it's a really neat bit, and I do love that the big great detective in Ryan Johnson's new series is a fairly openly gay man, and it's pretty rad of him. Also, Daniel Craig is just, again, great actor in this. Absolutely phenomenal. I could go on about all the actors and their individual performances, but I would be here for a while. And also just like, again, it's a really solid movie. Really great with its themes and plotting too.
Yeah.
Like, I think this movie is a bit stronger thematically than the first Knives Out, but the first Knives Out has a slightly tighter plot, I'd say, is the trade-off I'd give.
Yeah.
But they're both really good. Like comparing the two is like comparing a priceless painting with a priceless piece of architecture. Both are extremely valuable, but in very different ways. Yeah, watch this movie. Fucking watch this movie.
Okay, we move on then to another Marvel offering. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
This is a fun little diversion. It's mostly featuring Drax and Mantis taking around on Earth, trying to kidnap Kevin Bacon to give as a Christmas gift to Peter. Well, that's like the central premise of about 2/3 of this special.
Does Kevin Bacon actually appear?
Yes. He is in the special. It is very funny seeing him react to all the space nonsense of the Guardians.
Right. Kind of sick of Kevin Bacon because he shows up on fucking mobile phone ads and internet ads so wearily often, and he tries to be British, which is like and use British like words. I'm just gonna go with words. My brain's not working hard enough to actually come up with the fancy word that I'm trying to think of.
Colloquialism?
Yeah, that'd probably work. Verbiage, I guess. I don't know.
Verbiage, yeah, verbiage.
Like verbiage.
Vocabulary.
Either way,
anyways,
I don't like him in those ads, like, because he's got such a strong American accent, and it just sounds wrong, and so I just...
Yeah, that's funny though.
And he just appears... That ad, literally, every time there is an ad break, I feel like that ad appears.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. Fun little special. It's only like an hour long, so if you want to watch it, go for it. I'm not gonna say it's like anything groundbreaking, but I do like that Marvel is doing more of these specials now because we got Werewolf by Night in this one.
I mean, I've
I
heard,
like that they're doing a new format now.
I've heard criticisms about this that it's very much flanderizing, I guess, Drax and Mantis into just straight comedy relief characters.
Kinda. More so with Drax than Mantis, I would say. It is only an hour special. I don't expect a lot of like depth from them in this. But again, Werewolf by Night is a lot deeper, so maybe I'm being easy on them.
Like, I can, I understand that it's a holiday special, and obviously we'll have to see with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 what they do with Drax in particular. Like, I do like him as comedy relief. Batista is a very good comedic actor. I mean, Batista is just a good actor in general.
Oh, he's great. He's also great in Glass Onion, believe it or not.
That's another thing that made me want to watch Glass Onion. I forgot he was in that, but knowing that
he's great.
Yeah. Batista, like, it seems insane to say this, but Batista has somehow been the best, like, wrestler to actor transition.
Yeah. The only one that you could argue is on that same level as The Rock. And even then, The Rock has his duds.
I mean, the thing with The Rock is that
he's also kind of gotten an ego problem lately.
The Rock,
I mean,
is barely an actor. The Rock usually plays The Rock.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The Rock plays the same character, and it's the action movie character The Rock. He very rarely plays a different character.
Fair. There's a reason Black Adam's not on this list, because none of us watched it.
I haven't watched any DC stuff.
Yeah.
Understandable.
The
only thing worth watching in the past few years is almost certainly, well, I would say the Batman and the Suicide Squad are the only DC movies worth watching in the past few years.
I had to be bribed to watch the MCU stuff, let alone watch, watch DC stuff.
Fair.
But yeah, like, so yeah, Rock is...
I just realized, we forgot to put Dreadgod on the list.
We did. We're going to talk about Dreadgod at some point anyway. It's fine.
Fair.
Frankly, we're pushing it by putting the show or the movie that's not the next one, the one after, considering we have already talked about it. So
yeah, we'll probably just be brief on that one.
But yeah, just going
not
back
much
to
else to say on the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
I just want to go back to wrestlers for a second. So yeah, Rock just plays the same character. John Cena does seem to be getting there. I'll give him that.
I haven't seen John Cena in much, if I'm being honest.
I mean, he's obviously only just really started to get going, because he's been he's been sort of torn between WWE and Hollywood the last sort of 2-3 years, and it's only now that the last sort of year or two that he's really starting to get going.
Yep.
But what was it, Peacemaker? Apparently he's very good at that.
Peacemaker. I've heard good things about that one. He was great in the Suicide Squad, so I imagine he'd be great in Peacemaker.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Cena is he commits. He very much commits.
Oh yeah, he fully commits to the bit.
But we are getting off topic, so we move on now to House of the Dragon.
Oh, this is some good shit. So, you know how everyone disavowed Game of Thrones after it went off the fucking rails in the last season? Yeah, this is good, and I can't help but have enjoyed it.
Because it's working off Gurm's source material again.
Yeah, that is very true. It is, in fact, working off of Gurm's source material once again, as opposed to, just improvising off of creators who have no idea how the fuck to create new content on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking D&D. But yeah, no, this is good. It helps that it's based off of stuff that's already well in the past, so there's like not a lot that they can fuck up on with regard to adapting the source material beyond like one area that it did kind of go wrong with, which is just the time skips weren't all super organic, and it perfectly meshed well with the storyline or with the source material. But that's a bit more of a personal gripe. I do feel like it overall adapts the story really well.
Yeah, I feel like time skips are more easily done in print than they are in a TV show or a movie.
100%. 100%. They try to condense it out into like 2 or 3 time skips of major time periods because like they didn't want to go through so many actors, you know.
Except
so,
Matt Smith. Matt Smith's going to be there till the end.
What was that?
Except Matt Smith. Matt Smith is going to be there till the end.
Yeah.
Fair play, you know. Yep. I love Matt Smith.
Matt Smith was good in the role. He is very good in the role.
Again, I've said this before, and I've said it on stream before. I just so struggle to connect, you know, Matt Smith as the happy-go-lucky doctor and Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen, this, you know,
absolute dickwad.
Yeah. This kind of monster.
Oh, he is a colossal asshole, yes.
I mean,
he's entertaining though.
I'm not sure where he'd rank on the list of, like, Targaryen monsters, because that's a family with a lot of monsters. But, you know, just talking generally, he's not a good guy.
To be fair, most of the characters are not good people. But some of them are not good people in very entertaining and fucked up ways, which is what we come to these shows for.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I will say Matt Smith puts in a great performance. Only performances I would say are like on par or above his are probably Emma Darcy, Olivia Cook, and Patty Considine as Viserys just knocks it out of the fucking park. Like, especially in his last episode, he does a really fucking good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the young actors doing playing the youngest generation are also really good. Like, the 2 actors they got playing teenage and young adults, Aegon II, very punchable men. They do a very good job of making Aegon a very punchable, insufferable asshole. And that is to their credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely great show. Given where the season left off, we are in for some fun shit for the next couple seasons. Get ready for some dancing, boys!
People are gonna fucking die.
People have already been fucking dying. It's just gonna get a lot higher. Much higher body count from here on in.
Dragons are gonna start fucking dropping like flies.
Oh, people are not ready for the rest of the show.
But we move on then to, we've already discussed this for a good 2 hours. Though I did have to cut out like a minute or 2 of it due to copyright. Jujutsu Kaisen 0.
That's that good shit.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's there's not much more for us to say, other than like it was a good movie. Like,
What else is there to say?
I mean, I actually managed to convince my mum to watch it a
Oh,
couple of weeks ago. I
what
think
you
she
think?
enjoyed it, so
That's neat.
um, she at least paid attention the entire time, and we were watching the sub as well, so that was good.
Definitely a plus.
Um, but
It'd be better slash worse. You could have convinced her to watch Machina.
I have the DVD of that, and I'm just waiting.
It is.
I mean, I've got like a pile of anime movies that like I'm gonna see about showing it. So we'll see. Machina is on that pile, so we'll see if we get to it.
I watched Machina with my mom and she cried. It was a good cry, but she definitely cried.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, great movie. Watch it. Read the 4 chapter manga, also good. Jujutsu Kaisen's just good.
Yeah, yeah.
But we should move on to the first book on our list, The Law, a Dresden Files novella by Jim Butcher.
Ugh. Sorry, had to. Well, this is alright. Decent enough as an interlude between stories, or between books, rather, but it's not going to hold us over forever, Jim. We need some actual meat. This is an appetizer. We need an entree.
I mean, like, he's currently working on
He's
like
working on whatchamacallit, his second Cinder Spire
Cinder
book.
Spy book, yeah. Which he did actually, interestingly enough, he did actually have to be convinced to keep doing that because apparently one of his either he lost one of his cats or one of his cats died, and it made him not want to write in the cats' voices anymore.
Aw.
But he has gone back to writing it and is I think most of the way through. I think we're just basically awaiting awaiting that the end tweet that we tend to get.
Huh, interesting.
So after that, it'll be probably about a year and a half until the next Dresden book.
Oh boy. I'm sure the fan base will be very patient and considerate throughout the whole process.
We've been patient. We've been patient for longer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'll be fine. Yeah, the novel itself isn't too bad. It's just like I don't think it just has enough meat to it, you know?
No, it's definitely something that feels like it's meant to tide you over.
Yeah, it's like a snack instead of a proper meal.
Still good though. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just I want more. Is that greedy of me? Yes. Is it wrong? Is it incorrect to my feelings? No. Yeah, the contents of the novel are fun enough. Of the novella are fun enough. It's just I just think it's not like super deep or anything.
Yeah.
Also, the primary antagonist is kind of very shallow character.
It's sort of the point. This is the kind of antagonist that Harry was put up against while he was a detective.
Yeah, way back early on in the series.
It's like Harry having to realize that, there are some idiots who are so stupid they won't actually be intimidated by his new powers.
Yep. Yeah, the guy is literally too dumb to be scared.
Yeah. I like, that moment was funny of just like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Dude. Do you not see what I'm doing here?
No comprendo.
Yeah. It is interesting to get to see, this this new dynamic with Marcone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is it is very much, a little well, it's a novella, and it is just, there's really not much to it. Also, the introduction of that defense lawyer, liked him. He was smart enough to go, no, fuck the supernatural. I had my fill there. I'm not going near it again.
Yeah, that was fun. I like the character.
Yeah.
Like, the characters in the novella, the new characters in the novella itself, they were fun enough. It's just, I kind of want more for them,
Yeah.
On that, pretty decent story. Nothing groundbreaking or anything, but nothing that'll put you off.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that, I think we can move on
to The Lost Medal by Brandon Sanderson. Because he hasn't released
Brando Sando.
Because he hasn't released enough novels in his lifetime.
To be fair, most of those novels are coming out next year. He has 4 novels coming out next year. 4. The man is insane. Yeah, good book. This book is an interesting one because it's almost as much a Cosmere novel as it is a Mistborn novel. And I do think it integrates the Cosmere elements pretty well. It doesn't go too deep into like the greater Cosmere lore beyond like explaining just enough that you won't be lost when he introduces the extra Cosmere stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, like it's not oppressive or in your face or anything, but it is there. And if you don't like the greater Cosmere stuff, then just be aware that it is very much a presence here. Still, the book is good. It's very good. It actually got me kind of emotional towards the end.
Yeah.
It has a lot of heft to it. And honestly, this is probably my favorite of the Mistborn Era 2 stuff. Might well be my favorite. Hard to say. I'll need more time to sit on it, but it's a very good book. It gave proper like emotional arcs to all the major characters, and also had some really interesting plot stuff.
Yeah.
Going on too. So yeah, good book. Read more. Read the Mistborn series. All of it. It's all good. It's all good.
But we move on to our next Marvel fare, Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Well, Moon Knight.
I liked this series. It was crazy wild, but it was fun.
Yeah, it definitely had some pretty cool ideas. I think it kind of lost its focus by the ending. That's almost usual for Marvel stuff, but
it did have some really fun concepts throughout, and it did have really good character stuff for the main character.
Yeah, Oscar Isaacs was great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really hard to go wrong with Oscar Isaac. They used him really well in this show. He got to do a lot of crazy fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely. He was very, very good.
I do appreciate that's not like a waste of a perfectly good Oscar Isaac, like say the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I know. They actually used him and let him act and do stuff.
Yeah, Oscar
I
Isaac,
think,
really great acting in this.
yeah, I think, and this feels incredibly strange to say about a Marvel thing, but I think I kind of wanted Moon Knight to connect more to other Marvel stuff. Like, it's basically a
Oh yeah,
standalone show.
yeah. I think it being a standalone show is a good strength to it, but I do want to see Moon Knight appear in other stuff.
Yeah,
Like Moon Knight crossing over with it, say like Daredevil or Spider-Man would be
it would be
absolutely
amazing.
great.
Yeah,
Especially because of how absolutely crazy Moon Knight is.
yeah. I mean,
In
that's the
both a
thing.
literal sense and a metaphorical sense.
I mean, that is basically why it's essentially standalone, because it's tonally very, very unique.
Yeah. It is kind of insane in a good way. But it does meander a bit. A
Yeah,
lot in the
definitely.
middle and a bit at the end. But I do think it finds its footing overall in terms of like the plot and the characters.
It does. I definitely liked it more than not. I
Yes.
just think, yeah, as you said, it does kind of lose its footing here and there.
Yeah. Not any huge stumbles or anything, but it's not
It's very much a Marvel thing. Like, it's not bad. It's entertaining. It does some cool stuff, but overall, it's also not particularly
yeah.
outstanding. It's just fine.
I wouldn't put it in the top tier of Marvel stuff, but I'd still put it like in a solid low A, high B tier.
Yeah, no,
If we were doing
definitely.
a tier list.
It's definitely among the more interesting ones.
Yeah.
But it also
If nothing
definitely
else,
suffers from Marvelitis.
if nothing else, it does do quite a bit of justice to its high concept
Yeah.
of being a superhero with multiple personalities, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, really hard to go around with watching this one, especially because of how standalone it is from everything else.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can just watch it, and if it's not your thing, you just leave it be, and if you enjoy it, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, moving on then. The next Marvel thing.
Yeah.
So much Marvel stuff.
Well,
Moving on
now
then
that they're doing regular
to
TV.
Ms. Marvel. So much
This
Marvel.
one was another one I mostly liked.
Yeah, I overall liked. I think like people are gonna have very different reactions if they read the comics or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Particularly
her
with the spoiler
her
for
power
the
set,
end.
her power set is literally completely different in the comics.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no. I feel like
entirely.
the thing is that particular power set is difficult to pull off in live action without
No,
hitting
like
any value super
I
hard.
get why they changed it, and I don't think it was a bad move to change it. It's just I'm certain there are people out there who will not like the fact that they changed it.
No, understandable, 100%. But like, I can't blame them for making the change either.
No, absolutely not.
Like, Ms. Marvel, fun character of the comics, but like her powers do not translate well to live action.
No, not at all. They definitely like it was a smart move to change that, to adapt that.
Yeah, yeah, I do like the cast really plays well off of each other, and I do like the integration of most of the characters into the story. Also, really like the depth they give to her family and its history with their Pakistani heritage.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
think that's an element that's
definitely the
largely
standout element. They weren't afraid to play it outside most viewers' comfort zone.
yeah.
By
I feel like it's an
putting it
element that
culturally
was
elsewhere.
really that's missing from a lot of MCU stuff. That it doesn't really play into the heritage of the characters all that much, especially
Yeah,
like characters who have like a strong history of their heritage in the comics.
yeah,
Like there was a little bit of Moon Knight with Layla, but here's where it is really like prominent and really done well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, that they definitely took from the comics. The comics did that too, and did it very well, and they also did it very well in the show.
Yep.
So just to
Yeah, I feel like
just to interrupt, what were Miss Marvel's powers in the comics then?
basically stretchy. You could
basically
stretch
like
and make her her hands bigger, for instance.
shape-shifty, stretchy thing. Yeah.
It's kind of like a little bit between I think somewhere between Kendo from Hero Aka and Luffy from One Piece.
Right.
And
Basically,
you
she
can,
can
I
make
think you can
parts of her
imagine why it's
body
hard to
bigger
pull
or
off in
smaller.
live action.
Yeah. Which makes the One Piece live action very interesting.
Oh, I'm very curious as to how that's going to go.
Mm. But it's got that Netflix money behind it, so
Yeah, I mean, this has Marvel money behind it. They still don't want to go for it.
fair enough.
Yeah, they gave her basically magic powers instead, just blue light.
Yeah. Honestly, though, good show.
Mm.
Yeah, no, fun show, good cast. Like the main cast is really
Good cast. Yeah, really good cast. They all bounce off each other really well.
Yeah. And I mean, it is mostly a comedic show.
Mm-hmm.
All things of
It's
this
only
nature.
a little bit of seriousness here and
It
there.
does have a dramatic core, but it's mostly a comedy.
Yeah. The one really dramatic episode is the flashback episode.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a pretty lighthearted show that's really fun, and it does have a lot of depth to it too, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That was a pretty solid Marvel outing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys okay to move on then?
Yep.
Sure.
We
Oh
move
boy.
on
Oh
then
boy.
to I think it's the final book on our list, Nona the Ninth. Now we're gonna do a more in-depth.
I was gonna say we're gonna probably
Look at
talk
this.
about this in depth at some point.
Yeah. So we'll try and keep
needs
things.
its own dedicated stream.
Yeah, we'll keep it short. It's very good. It's
a very
Tamsyn Muir at her
gender book.
best. Yeah.
It's very gender.
Boy, is it gender. Like,
probably the most gender book.
yeah. It takes the concept of gender, throws it in the blender, and then throws the blender away.
Yes, it is absolutely. This is probably one of the most insane books I've read, and
it's fucking
taking
nuts.
into account the previous book too.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like it's just it escalates so well.
Mm.
Yeah. No.
Again, we're gonna get into all of this in depth at another time, so I don't want to get super into things.
Yeah.
But let's just say it's Tamsyn Muir at her best. Like it's funny, it's tragic as fuck. It hurt my feelings in every way imaginable.
It warms
And
your
I'm
heart
very,
and makes
very,
it
very,
bleed.
and I'm very, very scared of the next book.
Oh, I am fucking terrified.
Yeah.
This one warms the heart and then it makes it bleed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to share one out of context line. It's just so great. And I think you know exactly what line that is.
Probably, but go ahead.
Get in line, thou big slut.
Yes.
That line was so good in so many ways.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't think we should say too much. I think we'll get into it at another time.
Oh yeah, we're going to get into it at the very least before the release of Electo.
Yeah, and when we get into it, I will get into it. Like I do have lots of thoughts on. Like I read this book before it came out, technically, because I got my copy like a week early for some reason.
Lucky bastard.
And I basically think about it every day. Like this book does not leave me alone.
I think
lots of
can't
thoughts.
read this book and not have thoughts.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we'll definitely get into it, but I don't think anything I would say now would probably hurt that.
Mm.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we will save in-depth discussion for a later date, but we should probably move on.
Oh, just before we do move on, I did actually get my brother Gideon, so
Nice.
hoping to get a reaction to that at some point. But yes, otherwise we move on to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
General Kenobi!
Hello there.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. What a shame.
It's not a bad show. I will say it's not as bad as Book of Boba Fett.
No, it's not as
so
bad
much
as
wasted
that.
potential.
I mean, yes, it's not as bad as that, but it's still like
I feel like this show is kind of a show at war with what it wants to be.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I have thoughts.
Go for it. This is the place to discuss them.
Yeah, like overall, I did not like the show. I love Ewan McGregor as the character still. He was the only good thing about the prequels, and besides the music, and remains the only good thing in things where he is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I would say he was the only good thing here. There were a few other good elements, like some of the other actors did a good job.
Yeah, a few, but overall, I don't think this series served the character very well. I do not think the things it wanted to do were either necessary or particularly useful to do. So yeah, I went away from it very disappointed.
I don't blame you. No, I don't think it was a bad show, but it was very It was a show that was very unfortunately divided in what it was trying to do and what it was actually doing.
Yeah. I think the first episode was pretty good.
First and last episodes, I think, were the best episodes.
Well, I do have some pretty big issues with the last one, but
I have some issues with the last one, but the last one still had some really strong elements to it, particularly the duel between Obi-Wan and Vader.
Yeah, I didn't like this. I thought that was...
You didn't like that?
No, I thought that was a thematic suicide for basically both characters.
Huh.
Because, like, okay, boy, you know I hate talking about Star Wars, and this is why. So, in the original trilogy, Luke Skywalker gets told by every Jedi, by every figure that is important to his own worldview, basically, you have to kill Darth Vader. And Luke doesn't do that, which shows us, well, the Jedi were fucking wrong about this. And one of the symptoms of how wrong the Jedi are is they don't even tell him Vader is his father. Obi-Wan Kenobi tells him, well, no, your father's dead, don't worry about it. And in this show, they excuse Obi-Wan Kenobi saying that, because it's not Obi-Wan Kenobi lying, it's Vader's words. And that seriously hurts the character for me.
Hmm.
Can I just say,
because that's the point. He's wrong. Sorry.
I'm just imagining like a scene after Empire Strikes Back where Luke is talking to Obi-Wan's Force Ghost, so like, you said he was dead. To me, he was dead to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's basically what he says in episode 6. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, oh well, from a certain point of view, but none of that matters anymore because Obi-Wan didn't lie. It's Vader's words. It's not Obi-Wan's words, and that doesn't work for me. Like that seriously hurts the trajectory of where his character is moving, and that's why I don't like the duel. Like the duel itself, yeah, sure, choreography was fine. I've seen good lightsaber duels before, but the actual like thematics resolution of that did not work for me at all.
I can understand that. I didn't mind it too much because Obi-Wan has always felt to me like a character who loves using exact words and very tricky phrasing to get around things, and it came across to me more as him taking a cue like, oh, so you're dead? Okay, I'll treat you as dead, because you basically are. but I can
That
see
is
your
my
perspective
problem.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get where you're coming from as well, Lore. Also, Mill, I'm pretty sure you were quoting how it should have ended there.
Oh, what, the dead to me thing?
Yes.
Very possibly, it's just something that came to mind, but I just found it funny.
Fair. How it should have ended is funny,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, it depends.
I mean,
Depends which one it was from, but because I might not have watched it, but yeah.
I mean, other than that, the show made a few pretty big missteps, I think, in the development of the new characters. River was
I feel like it
wasted.
didn't really utilize most of the new characters
Yeah.
all that much. The only
Exactly.
character that really, the only new characters that really worked at all, I think, were Indira Varma's character and Kumail Nanjiani's character.
Yeah,
Just
kind of.
because. Just
And I mean,
because
Indira
they
Varma was
introduced
barely
characters.
in it. She was dead like 2 episodes in, I think. Like 2
No,
episodes
she
after.
died in episode 5,
Oh,
if I
no.
recall correctly.
Yeah. But she was only introduced in episode 3, right?
Episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, like she wasn't in it for a long time, that's all I'm saying.
It's a short series, to be fair.
That's true. Yeah, no, but I think it wasn't. I don't know. It didn't feel particularly well thought out. Like the whole.
Yeah. The stuff with
Even
Reva
the whole.
feels wonky.
Yeah, that was completely wasted. Like they did a lot of setup and then just didn't resolve it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just in the last 2.5 episodes, people basically die and live by coin toss. Yeah, like it makes no sense who
Yeah,
lives and who
feels very
dies.
arbitrary.
Like literally, people have the same thing happen to them, and some live and some don't, and that's kind of weird. Yeah, no, there's just a lot of wasted potential there. Where they, if they had given it another draft, it would probably have been better. But I assume they didn't want to, or weren't allowed to, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, it was unfortunately a show I really wanted to like, but that didn't really work for me.
All right. We move on then to the Sandman.
This is that good shit. Oh, this show is so good. I really appreciate all the crazy visuals that went into this show for one thing, but also just like the story and the actors all just work really well. And yes, that is Stephen Fry on the left side of the poster mill.
Cool.
Yeah. No, this is a good show. I absolutely adore the comic this is based off of. It is probably my all-time favorite comic series of all time in terms of like Western comics. Uh, so you can imagine how excited I was for the show. I really enjoyed it. The actors all did phenomenal for me. The story does kind of sag a little in places, just because it doesn't always it doesn't perfectly translate from the comic to the screen, because as with all mediums, there are some things that work better in comics than in live action. But I do feel like it mostly survived the transition pretty damn well. I will also say that I don't mind too many of like the minor changes here and there they made to the characters. Like a lot of characters get a racelet or a gender swap. Oh, actually, only 2 of the characters were gender swapped, and it's kind of debatable in Lucifer's case because Lucifer's kind of predates the concept of gender in this setting.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, the characters really interesting, and absolutely loved some of the episodes. My favorite was, of course, the episode with Death in it, because Death is my favorite character in the comic for a good reason. She's amazing. But yeah, excellent show. Excellent show. I would definitely recommend it.
All right. Moving on to yet another Marvel thing. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
This is actually the first one I think I have not finished yet.
So, much like with Marvel, I think people are going to have very different reaction to this one based on if they know the comics or not, because this show is exactly like the comics.
Yeah,
But if people don't know that the She-Hulk comic is like this, with all the fourth wall breaking and the jokes and stuff, they are going to be very confused. Like if people expect this to be essentially a Hulk show with the female lead, this is not gonna be what they want. I think that's really the main thing about the show. Like if you know that the comics are like this, then this series is pretty fun, not particularly weird or strange. Not super good, but again, pretty fun. If you don't know the comics are like this, then you're probably going to have a bad time just because you don't get it. Yeah.
I did enjoy the show. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it because I just haven't had the time, and I've been distracted by other things.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fair. Like I think this is very much it's one of those shows. Like when you get into it, you're into it, but once you're out, it's kind of hard to get back in just because of how specific and
I kind of just fell off it around, I think, after episode 7, which was a good episode, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no,
I just got sidetracked because I dove right back into Persona 5, and I have not been able to fully climb out of that hole. But yeah, She-Hulk's not that bad. Some of the episodes really made me laugh because of how funny they were, especially the group therapy was really fun.
Yeah, the comedy is pretty good overall. Like for how safe it ultimately ends up being, like it's not like compare this to, I mean, it's not Marvel, but it's also Disney, like to Andor or something. It's not, it doesn't have any particularly smart takes or it's not really thematically particularly developed. It's just kind of a fun time.
I did hear that the last episode goes really fucking meta.
The last episode is fucking crazy. Like I'm not even gonna say anything in case you want to watch it. It's completely nuts.
Probably. I just have a bunch of anime I need to watch first.
I mean, I remain irked that they didn't make her buff.
Yeah, I wish they didn't make her as skinny as they did. They need She-Hulk should be yoked. She-Hulk should be jacked as hell.
Well, I'm not saying she needs to be like as big as male Hulk, or He-Hulk.
No,
but you know,
she should still be jacked.
Yeah,
she should still have like really clear gains. You know?
No, I agree. Like overall, the visual effects have been much better than they were in the trailer. But yeah, she should have been more buff.
Yeah,
but that was probably never gonna happen if we're honest.
Because Marvel is scared of muscular women.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cowards.
Yeah, but no, I think really that's the thing about She-Hulk. You basically have to go in already knowing what it is, because if you don't, you're not gonna like it. It's just gonna be confusing if you
don't. If that's everything, we can move on to Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Do you know the way?
You know the way. Yes. Also, Jim Carrey is, of course, a scene stealer, as he always is. Because he's Jim fucking Carrey.
Again, Jim Carrey is one of those actors that just fucking commits.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely committed to his role as Eggman here, and he just absolutely fucking nails it. Like, the rest of the cast also does pretty good in their roles. Like, Idris Elba, really fun as Knuckles. I would never expect Idris fucking Elba to be Knuckles the Echidna, but here we...
It's still insane to me.
It is insane, but it is great.
Didn't he try and say he was gonna try and make Knuckles not sexy and failed completely?
Yes, because it's Idris Elba. Idris Elba can't not be sexy.
Idris
That's
Elba's
kind of the
Idris Elba's voice specifically, which is one of the sexier parts of him.
Yeah. Again, he can't not be that because that is who he is. Like it's Idris Elba. What was he expecting? Yeah, no. This movie is a real fun time. I do feel like, as with the first one, the human element is the weakest part of the movie, but that's not surprising. It's the weakest part in all these kinds of movies. But they have to have it because CGI characters are expensive. And the yada yada, what's it called? There is also a bit where some of the characters dance to a really dated song. And I could not tell if I was supposed to laugh or just groan along with that one because, like, the song was super fucking dated. I don't remember off the top of my head.
But have you seen Shrek? They did it there.
Yes, but in Shrek, it was fine because it was timely. The song was out of date by a couple of years in this one. And by a couple, I mean like 5 or so years. Yeah, beyond those bits, I largely liked the movie. It was a fun time, and I really enjoy the actors giving it their A game for a silly movie about a blue hedgehog who go fast. And given the after credit scene, we're in for a fun time with Sonic 3. Because Sonic 3 looks like it's going to be adapting the original Sonic 2 video game.
Was that one of the good ones?
Yeah, it's also really fucking dark.
Okay.
It's the one that introduces Shadow.
Ah, of course it would be dark then.
Yep.
God, I can't wait to find out who they cast as Shadow. It's gonna be so stupid.
It's gonna be so fucking hilarious.
Again, they need to get somebody who will just fully fucking commit to being the biggest.
It's like fucking Christian Bale or something.
Biggest edgelord in the world.
Christian Bale as Shadow would be fucking hilarious. But no, I think they'd go for someone a bit younger for Shadow.
Yeah, probably.
But still, there's a whole smorgasbord of actors to pick from, and they'd have a hard time going wrong with them. It'll be interesting to see who
they should do Charlie Cox and just have him play Daredevil.
God. Oh my god. But yeah, no, good movie, fun movie. It's not going to win any awards besides maybe visual effects, but it's a fun time, and it's hard to go wrong with it. Honestly, it is a good popcorn movie.
Moving on to a thing that's probably the complete opposite of that. Stranger Things Season 4.
You have fun running up that hill, Mill?
I haven't watched this. I mean, I was on the fucking run up that hill train since like 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So y'all are just fucking slow.
Yeah.
I was exposed to it through properly cultured means, by which I mean wrestling. Because it was used in a promo, and I loved the song, and I loved the promo, so I got the song.
The song fucking slaps, but it was also like it also took off in the general public because it was on Stranger Things because of fucking course. It had a big resurgence after it was dormant 30 years away from the charts or some shit.
Yeah, funnily enough, wrestling doesn't have the same reach as Netflix.
Yep. Yeah, Stranger Things is an interesting place right now because, on the one hand, this season had a lot of good high points, but on the other hand, it did suffer from one big flaw characteristic of the show, basically since the beginning, and that's the reluctance to kill off mainstay characters in almost any circumstances. Like, as soon as you're added to the regular cast, the show suddenly becomes a lot more reluctant to kill you off.
Mm.
It's fine. It's fine to kill off lovable newcomers, but once you've been on the show for a season or two, suddenly a lot harder for him to shed that plot armor. You know,
Yeah.
the show is very. I will say the show did benefit in one area that was superior to previous seasons, though, and that is having a proper, like, actual villain this time around.
Mm.
Because previous seasons did not have any non-human antagonists, and the human antagonists always felt overshadowed by by the non-human villains who didn't really have much in the way of, like, personality or sapience
Yeah.
to them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So having a proper villain in the so-called Vecna, who was given a proper personality and backstory
Mm-hmm.
in this season, really helped the show a lot.
Yeah.
I will say. I will also say that I do appreciate the show is giving a little bit more exploration into the cast outside of Eleven and Mike and a couple of the other characters, because a lot of the rest of the main cast hasn't really gotten a lot of exploration in the last season. I felt kind of sidelined for the sake of the plot.
Yeah.
But the cast is getting a lot more proper exploration here, I think.
Mm.
And I do hope that continues into the next and apparently final season, which should be very interesting to see play out. But yeah, I am mixed to mostly positive on this season. I do feel like it does suffer from a few recurring issues that have plagued the show for a couple seasons now.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it has introduced some good, strong plot elements, and the effects, as always, remain spectacular, as does the acting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Stranger Things concludes in its fifth and final season in, like, however many years it takes to get made, because holy shit. I cannot imagine this is easy on budget.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that my parents actually watch this show while I don't, so
What do they think of it?
I think they relatively enjoy it. Like, I don't think it's like their favorite show ever or anything like that, but I do think they definitely enjoy it.
Not every show is going to be everyone's favorite, after all.
I don't think they would have, they would keep watching it if they didn't enjoy it.
Fair enough. I don't know. Some people are like that. Some people will just insist on finishing a show even if they hate it. I don't understand those people. They're alien to me.
Can't hear me, but I'm just, whistling casually as somebody who does sometimes do that. I finished Attack on Titan.
I still don't understand why you did that to yourself.
Because I needed to be able to say, if they said, oh no, you stopped at the point where it gets really, really good, I can say, no, it doesn't get fucking good. It stays shit. It stays fucking trash. Fuck you.
Oh, so funny thing. How it should have ended actually uploaded a Obi-Wan Kenobi video earlier today.
Well,
that's too funny. That's actually a funny coincidence. I didn't notice that until, like, just now.
Just while we're on the subject of Hishi, just because it does just come to mind whenever Hishi gets mentioned, the first one of those that I watched, I think, was Dark Knight Returns.
Oh god.
And I think I was so sleep deprived when I was watching it that I just, like, I nearly died laughing at the one where, like, Lucius Fox is just like, oh no, I seem to have activated the emergency flood chamber. I do apologize. Well, get busy swimming or get busy dying.
Oh yeah. The Dark Knight Rises, how it should have ended, is hilarious.
No, I died laughing at a lot
Consistently
of those,
pretty damn funny.
But
Because
yeah.
of Batman.
But if we have nothing else to say, or if you have nothing else to say about Stranger Things Season 4, we can move on.
Nothing I can say without spoilers.
We can move on then to Tales of the Jedi.
This is a fun miniseries.
Yeah, that definitely is. I enjoyed that honestly more than I expected to.
Yeah. I do
This
appreciate
very much. Sorry, go ahead.
I do appreciate what the series does for Dooku in particular, because he does not get a lot of fleshing out in the movies or in the Clone Wars show. This
Yeah.
series does a lot to flesh him out, which I appreciate a lot.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think this very much has the warm blanket feeling thing where it's like, hey, this is just Star Wars. If you like Star Wars, you'll like this. But in a good way. Like it doesn't feel overly like reference laden or anything. It's just, hey, this is more Star Wars. I think the final episode was essentially the plot of the Ahsoka book from 2017 or something.
Sort of. Not quite, but it's like a very.
I mean, yeah, there were like a few
it's like
changes.
a
It's
spark
very
note
broad.
of that, basically.
Yeah, very, very broad strokes, but essentially. No, but overall, Tales of Jedi is just very, very fun if you like if you're into the whole Star Wars mythology thing, particularly.
Yeah. I think it's really fun, especially for like if you have any liking for Dooku, Ahsoka, or any of the characters connected to them.
Yeah.
I feel like episodes 4 and 5 are probably the strongest episodes. Or
Yeah,
not
probably.
4 or 5. 3. The 2 episodes focused on Dooku.
Yeah.
The most focused on Dooku.
Yep, I would
The
agree.
one with him and Mace and the one with him and Yaddle. Both really good episodes.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Those are probably the standouts.
Yeah. Overall, really good sort of anthology series. Does a pretty good job, especially with fleshing out Dooku.
Yeah. And it's short, like you can watch it.
You can knock it out in a couple hours. Easy.
Yeah.
Have time over. Yeah. No, good little mini-series. I don't even know if it's a mini-series. I think it's just a series of shorts.
Yeah, essentially it's just shorts, yeah. But yeah, it's just fun. It's just good fun.
It's a good time. Yeah, moving on to your big talking piece, Mel.
The one thing that I get to talk about solo. Taskmaster Series 13 and 14. And since Gen isn't here, sorry, I don't have to worry about spoiling anything.
Nuts.
Genuinely, Series 13 and 14, I think, are some of the best of the show, especially Series 13. Like, just genuinely so hilarious. It was the first one after social distancing was basically thinking of dumb words. Removed, I guess. Removed works. And like the studio atmosphere felt a lot cozier now that they were able to sit more closely together. There was a lot more sniping, which was hilarious, and just every single member of the cast was just so funny. Like, had Ardalo Hanlon of Father Ted fame, who was both fit into the whatchamacallit, like sort of confused old man role, and also just kept sniping at everybody else's attempts, even when his was shit. Like there was one where there was a task where they had to show off a moment from history using a pair of traffic cones. One of the contestants was, and they'd made a point to define history compared to prehistory, and one of them showed a moment from like the dinosaurs extinction event, and Arnold was like, "Yes, that's a wonderful moment, Sophie, from prehistory." just like the snarkiest little line. Bridget Christie is insane and is the first one to actually manage to irritate Alex Horn in 13 series. Genuinely seemed to irritate him, which was just great. Chris Ramsey is just an excited Geordie puppy, which is great. And I will never tire of saying "no way" in a Geordie accent. No way. Judy Love, incompetent as all get out, but just the biggest bullshitter ever, like wonderfully so. And Sophie Duker, just fucking things up as the young'un in the crowd. She doesn't have a wardrobe. Like, one of the prize tags was to bring in something from your wardrobe, and she was like, "I don't actually have one, so I couldn't do this properly." But yeah, so that was Series 13. Series 13, absolutely wonderful. And some of the best live tasks as well, I should point out. I like some really good live tasks. Series 14, again, some really fucking good moments. I've told you some of these, Jack, when we were doing a Deathloop stream of John Kearns being told to sabotage his team, which just, oh my god, just so funny. I mean, John Kearns in general, I mean, again, the casting of this show is just so spectacularly wonderful. Like, I cannot believe how well they managed to balance out the casts in each series. Because again, you got Dara Breen, who is both competitive and hilarious. You've got you had Sarah Millican, who was competent but also just there to just fuck things up, as Sarah Millican does. You had Fern Brady. That's it. Me Fern Brady. Who is Scottish and autistic and was just like, just had some of the weirdest like thought processes, in the best way possible. And then John Kearns, obviously, and then Munya Chihuahua, who has the most self-confidence I've ever seen in a person, but it's also was just terrible. Like, my favorite moment from him was where this is a hard one to explain quickly, but I'll do my best. They were in they managed to rent out Gatwick Airport while I was getting some renovations done during the pandemic. And they had to basically use a series of those big exercise balls to hit a mannequin around the corner, and the more balls they used in the attempt, the better they would do. And Munya somehow managed to use all 15, and like Greg in the studio afterwards was just like, I grew up in the 70s or 80s, when you weren't allowed to have self-confidence. And then there was an extra VT shown of Munya cheating, and Greg was just like, just completely shocked and just like, I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've stomped on my hopes and dreams like this. But yeah, Taskmaster, I absolutely adore, and I recommend everyone give it a try because it is so funny. There's literally been one maybe 2 seasons that people are like, yeah, this is not a particularly good season, and even then, the season is still pretty fucking good. Like, it's not up to general Taskmaster standards, but it's still like a really good series. So yeah, I absolutely recommend Taskmaster to everyone. who can get their hands on it. I believe it's up on YouTube for pretty much everyone at this point, from series 1 to 11. I think they're starting to upload series 12, which is also very good. So yeah. Moving on though to Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, this honestly, this one is to me like the quintessential Marvel movie. It's not terrible. I didn't hate the time I spent with it, but it's also just not particularly good or memorable. It's just kind of okay. Guess I watched that.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm more disappointed than anything because of just the fact that Thor Ragnarok was so fucking good, and this movie is just like nowhere near as good as Ragnarok was.
Honestly, it oddly felt like they not script wise, but they did retread a lot of steps from Ragnarok in like in how the movie was constructed.
Mm-hmm. It just didn't work nearly as well this time, partially because
Yeah.
of the invitation and partially because of
The script.
yeah.
Yeah, I think with Ragnarok they mostly let Taika Waititi make a Taika Waititi movie that happened to be a Marvel movie, and this one was a Marvel movie that happened to be directed by Taika Waititi.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't feel as distinct. Like it didn't really have his voice to the extent the last one had, and yeah, overall, I just felt really. Again, I didn't hate my time with it. I just didn't think it was particularly good. And
Yeah.
at the end, it didn't really do much.
I think there's also an element of, I wonder if I'm just a bit tired of Thor right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Yeah.
basically the only one from Phase 1 who's still around, and that definitely
Yeah.
you feel that.
Yeah. Well,
like I felt like
Hawkeye and Hulk are also around, but
Yeah.
they just haven't done as much.
But
I mean,
yeah, they
Hawkeye
never
is
had their own movies.
barely around. Hawkeye's barely around as it is, and Hulk,
Yeah.
he just hasn't been around as much. Like Thor has been.
Yeah, I mean,
Thor,
movie lead from Phase 1.
yeah, Thor. I mean, has had 4 of his own movies. He's appeared in every single one of the Avengers movies. And that's what, 4 on their own. So he's been in 8 of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's generally been like a starring presence in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he might just be a bit overexposed. Also, like I don't know, the plot didn't really work for me. Like the whole,
I mean,
not the Jane Foster stuff. Like that was fine, but with the kids and the yeah, that was just weird.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to compare it to Ragnarok, which is obviously very well received. What was done differently there. And honestly, I think it is just, I just don't really enjoy the relationship between Thor and Jane.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ragnarok was totally a very different piece because Ragnarok was essentially a comedy, and this didn't really do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this one had a lot of tonal difficulties. Yeah. Like Christian Bale didn't really know how he was supposed to play his character. It feels like he took it super seriously and went super deep into it. And
I mean,
but he kind of was the only one, and that didn't really function. Like it was all very messy.
I mean, Gore just didn't really get to do much.
Gore, the movie could have done with like an additional 20 minutes in which Gore actually kills some gods.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like an off-screen rampage, killing one god and literally disarming Sith.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think this time they just didn't really care. Like they just made this movie because someone told them to make it. And with Ragnarok, like that was a movie Taika Waititi wanted to make.
Hmm.
And most people liked it. Some didn't, but that's fine. But it was a movie. Like that movie had a very distinct voice, and this one absolutely doesn't. This one to me felt like complete pure Marvel drivel.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, it's a case of I also think losing Loki and Hulk, and then obviously Bruce Banner from Ragnarok, and replacing them with Jane and getting a bigger role for Korg. I like Korg. I do like Korg, but he is mostly there for comic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
this was just a very, very hokey, unfinished looking or feeling movie.
mm,
Like even the cool visual stuff, like when they fought on the planet and it didn't really stick out as cool because it
mm,
was just kind of in this messy thing.
yeah. Um, but we should move on to a movie that has a Marvel actor in it, but isn't Marvel. Uncharted,
Mm-hmm.
aka Tom Holland and his dad Mark Wahlberg go treasure hunting
This
because
was okay.
Tom Holland looks perpetually teenaged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the movie was okay. Nothing special.
Could you go into a little more detail?
The movie felt like it wasn't an adaptation of Uncharted. It felt like a very generic adventure movie.
Hmm.
Like it did not have any. It did not really have any of the unique elements of the Uncharted franchise. It was just like, well, it was pretty much a waste of the actors involved too,
Hmm.
because a lot of really good actors are in this movie. They just don't get used to their potential at all,
Hmm.
and most of them are either just like playing their stereotypical role, or they are being,
Yeah.
just like removed from the story before they can actually have any use.
Hmm.
Yeah. What's funny to me is that like Tom Holland does some fun stuff in the movie, but the movie just does not utilize any of the actors well. Like, there's just I don't know. The movie is just overall wasted potential because there's just so much possibility for the actors to do stuff in,
Hmm.
for them to actually play to the roles they're given
Yeah.
of actual characters from this game franchise.
Hmm.
And no, it's not particularly in character or anything like that. It's just not a particularly fun movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's a decent enough adventure movie, but then you realize like what its actual like
Is it a case
basis.
of okay, it's good I guess, but I'd be better off just playing the game.
Basically,
Because obviously, as anime fans, we have watched many game adaptations with that same result of I'm just gonna play the game
yep,
because they're
yeah,
trying to fit a however many hour game into, in this instance, a 2 hour movie. Unless the first Uncharted is 2 hours, which I highly doubt, it's not gonna
nope,
work as well.
yeah. That is the unfortunate thing.
Sorry, I've just seen somebody post a tweet that that says Hideo Kojima has revealed that he plans to become an AI and stick around after death. Which
Would be very on brand for him.
yeah.
Yeah, this is just disappointing.
But we can move on then to our final. I believe it was just a special rather than a show or a movie.
It was a special.
Werewolf by Night.
This is a fun one. I really like this. This is a fun Halloween special.
Hmm.
It does a lot with just having its own. It's basically like a closed circle horror movie
Yeah.
where everyone is. It follows a bunch of monster hunters hunting a big monster in a hedge maze. Words. Uh, basically filled with all sorts of gizmos and gadgets they can use to hunt down the monster.
Mm-hmm.
As it turns out, the monster is the comic book character Man-Thing, who is not so easily hunted. But the two leads are Jack Russell, aka Werewolf by Night, and Elsa Bloodstone, who aren't like super major comic book characters, but aren't like the deepest of deep cuts,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they're really interesting characters, and I do like them getting a little bit of exploration in this special, uh, especially since they develop a pretty fun dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the execution of the horror elements in this. I also love that like 90% of its runtime is in black and white,
Interesting.
which is a really nice a really nice film gimmick, and also a nice homage to classic horror movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a very fun special,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think it is worth watching.
That's good. It's. I do wish, that Marvel would try and branch out some more, because at this point, I don't want to say they're too big to fail, but they're always gonna get a decent reaction.
This, I think, is part of that branching out.
Yes, and that's what I mean. I think they should do stuff more like this.
Oh, I agree. This is an experiment, but it's an experiment that paid off, in my opinion.
And but they've got to be smart about it, because obviously we just talked about Thor. Thor Ragnarok was definitely an experimentation after the first two Thor movies.
Yeah, but that one paid off as well.
That one paid off, but then for Thor: Love and Thunder, they basically just said, "Well, do it again. Don't try anything new. Just do it again."
Yeah, and you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice.
No.
Pun not intended.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, oh, this is a very unique experiment that I think worked really well, and well, I hope the characters do pop up again in in more Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I also appreciate that you could easily just take this as a standalone, as its own thing.
Yeah.
And just enjoy it for its own merits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's another. I do appreciate Marvel is doing more standalone stuff between this and Moon Knight, and I hope they do more of that stuff as well in the future, as well as the continuity heavy stuff. Because if they strike a balance between doing the more one-off stuff and the bigger continuity focused stuff, I think it could really work for the future of their projects overall. Yeah, I feel like Werewolf by Night is a step in the right direction for Marvel. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, we can bring this stream to an end. So thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed us going through some of the stuff that we have watched or read this year. In terms of future stuff, Thursday I believe will be gaming. Probably something probably Dragon Age 2 if I'm brutally honest. Saturday will be our anime of 2022 stream. That's
That's
shaping
gonna
up
be
to be. That's going to be a pretty big one, yeah. And we will probably be starting earlier that day, as early as we can.
yes.
Sunday, not entirely sure. My schedule isn't looking great at the moment, but we'll see what we can do there. And next Tuesday, we'll be back on the gaming grind. Again, depending on who is available. But so we will see on that front. Otherwise, again, thank you everybody for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter at storytime_net. And otherwise, we hope to see you on Thursday for likely some more Dragon Age 2. Good night.
Later.
Bye.